Okay, well, I'm Randi Underwood, Emerald Ambassador. If you guys don't know me, I know a couple of you guys on here are from my team. Um, I actually started with Plexus 4.5 years ago, actually, which is crazy to think that it's been that long. Started with the products, started because I needed the products desperately, and then the business just kind of fell into my lap. But obviously, this was not something that was natural for me. I had many fears, as I'm sure a lot of you on this call do, and I think all of us do. Fear is something that we all have no matter what, right? But unfortunately, it's one of those things that holds us back in so many ways. When it comes to your success, the dreams that you have, we just fear taking chances and risks. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that and how to overcome these fears. I think it's easier with a team. Hold on one moment. It just got loud. All right, sorry, I had to mute everybody. But I think it's easier to have each other, right? It's easier to do rather than doing this ourselves. So that's the cool part about this type of a job. We have each other. We have this amazing community. We all go through the same things, and we are all here for each other. So, if you have that day where you do have that fear and you need to tell one of your teammates, like, guys, I did this, but it was terrifying. We can all cheer you on and help you guys out with that and make you feel a little bit better. So one of the things when it comes to fear, the more that you focus on the negative outcome of people, whether it's people telling you no or whatever it is, or ignoring you, that story in your head, the more fear that you will feel and the more paralyzed that you will become. I'm sure a lot of you on here have felt that way at some point. I still do sometimes, guys. And if it gets to the point where I get myself out of, my regular daily things that I'm doing, my daily habits, sometimes I get to the point where I start fearing again if I'm not continuing to do that. So what you say to yourself is extremely important when it comes to overcoming fear. So the typical stories that I'm going to share with you guys that I say in my head, typical stories that probably a lot of you guys say in your head, it's not going to work. She's going to ignore me or think I'm trying to sell her something. She's going to delete me as a friend. She's going to say no, she's too good for this. There's no way she needs this. She has a PhD. There's no way she would ever want to work this business with me. She's got a full-time job. She's very successful. I can't reach out to her, right? So those are those stories that we're telling ourselves. All we're doing is talking negatively in our heads, and it's scaring us off to the point where a lot of the times we don't reach out at all because we told that story in our head that she doesn't need this, or she doesn't want this, or she's not going to be my friend, or whatever it is. So to get past that, we need to be confident. We need to be brave. We need to push past those fears. And the more you push past those fears, the more confident you're going to become, and the more likely you're going to get the hang of it and be okay with it. So the very first thing that I want you guys to do, when we wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do, you guys want to get yourself in a daily habit. And so you guys hear us tell you guys this all the time, daily IPA, right? Certain things that you do. So one of the things that I do every day is I wake up and I read my Bible, right? So that's one of my daily things, my daily habits. I like to focus on gratitude, so if you're not, the praying type, Bible type, focus on gratitude. You want to focus on affirmations. And usually one of the things that I do is I pray for God to show me someone who needs my help, who needs these products. And that helps me when I feel that he's giving me signs and pointing me in that direction of bringing people my way. I feel I can even say that to people when I reach out to them and let them know, you've been on my heart, my mind, or, I feel that you were brought to me and I just feel this is something you might need. Would you be willing to take a look at it? So that's one of the things that I do in my mornings. But the first thing that I want you guys to do is I want you to think about what are your fears, because when you're writing those down, you're going to be able to really focus on them and overcome them. So I'm just going to list a couple fears and maybe get your guys' minds going and thinking about it. So one of the biggest ones, as we all do, we fear what others think of us, right? We fear what they will say about us. Fear of rejection and criticism is a huge one. Another fear, we fear following up with people, guys, right? Fearing following up is kind of terrifying. I can't they say fortune's in the follow up and everyone's signing by the 8th to the 12th time. Well, I can't follow up with them 12 times. Like, what am I supposed to do, right? I remember thinking those thoughts and being terrified at the very beginning when it came to following up. So I think we fear a lot with following up. We feel, and that's with customers too, guys, people who have actually already signed up. We fear that they're going to tell us products didn't work for me. I'm not feeling good. I don't like these. And that's a reason why we hold back sometimes with even following up and taking care of our ambassadors and our customers. That is the biggest, guys, fortune is in the follow-up, not just with your prospects, but your current people as well. And how are they going to be successful on these products or this business if we're not following up with them and taking care of them, right? So some other fears that I wrote down is fear that you're not the expert and you don't know enough. Fear of failure. Fear of going live. That's a huge one. Fear of putting ourselves out there and being vulnerable. Fear of training your team and not knowing enough, thinking that they're not going to want to listen to you because you're just a silver ambassador and your leader's an emerald ambassador, right? Fearing that you're not a good enough leader. So that kind of goes, with what I just said. Just fear of putting yourself out there in the first place. So these are all fears. There's probably more I have not listed. This was just stuff that was running through my head today that I wrote down, but I want you guys to write down all of your fears, the fears that are holding you back right now, okay? And then the next thing I want you guys to do is I want you to find an accountability partner, whether it's your upline, whether it's your sideline. I want you to grab somebody and tell them, these are my fears and I want you to hold me accountable. I want to push past these. I want you to help me. I want you to be there for me and, be that cheerleader for me. And I want to do the same for you. So I want you guys to find an accountability partner. Tell them what your fears are. Tell them about it. So that way they can say, hey, did you go live this week? And they can check in on you, right? And they know, okay, Sarah told me her goals were to go live 2 times this week. Well, you know what? It's Friday and she hasn't gone live yet. Maybe I should check in with her and say, hey, Sarah, how are those goals going, right? So it is extremely important to put that out there because the same thing with our health goals, right? We are going to be more successful with, maybe our weight loss journey or whatever it is that we are focusing on, whether it's working out 5-6 days a week, if we have other people that are holding us accountable. I love yoga. I do yoga 5-6 days a week, and I do it at a studio. There's no way that I'm going to be doing it at home because I know I won't stay consistent if I do yoga at home. I need someone to, I need people around me. I need them to say, if I didn't show up for a couple days, hey, Randi, where have you been? Right? It's the same thing with this business too. You need people to hold you accountable, right? So that is extremely important. So those are going to be the first 2 things you do. You want to write those fears down and then find that accountability partner that is going to be there for you to help push you past those fears. Like I said, whether it's your upline or your sideline or whoever it is, find that person. But I would definitely find someone in this business. My husband's my accountability partner, I feel like, when it comes to like eating and health type stuff. But this business, it would be someone who's in this business with you, someone who's going to understand and who has the same kind of goals that are going to want to push past those fears as well. Next is take action. You guys, and this stuff is probably not new to many of you guys. Sometimes we just need to hear it again and again or hear it from different people, right? But you're never going to get past those fears if you don't take action, right? So taking action is partially what I'm talking about is even that daily IPA, right? Just making sure that you're reaching out every single day, making sure that you're following up every single day. I used to be the type that said, I don't need to do it daily. I can just do 20 in one day. And I realized that doing it that way, I would push things off to the point where I wouldn't get things done like I needed to. And I would also push things off because of the fears that I would have. And so when I'm doing little baby steps and little things every day, it makes it so much easier. And I can sit there and say, I reached out to my 3 people or my 5 people or whoever, whatever it is that my goal is. And okay, for the week, my fear maybe is going live. So I'm going to say, okay, Wednesday and Friday, I'm going live this week, and you have to tell somebody that too, because if it's quiet and in your head and you're not telling anybody that, and you guys, I'm preaching to the choir. I need my accountability partner too, to tell people, like, I need to stick with this. Like, this is what I need to do. That's gonna help you out right there. So take action. Do a daily IPA schedule. Get one of those sheets. We've had plenty of them we've shared in the past. If you guys already have one, great. I know Plexus has one in the back office, but stick with it. It makes it so much easier. Okay, first I'm going to say happy birthday to everyone. Okay, now I'm going to build some relationships with everybody. So and that's not, those things aren't the scary parts, right? But the reach out's the scary part, and the follow-up's the scary part. So if you're doing a little bit of that every day, it's going to make your life so much easier. And so one of the things that Emily Gibson actually said, she said, you know what, don't worry, she's like, if you could just send 3 people a day a video, a health story, or a sample, that's good. So 3 people a day, she said. And she said a video, a health story, and a sample. You guys, that's so easy, right? To be sending those. And that when she said that, I was like, oh, that sounds so much less scarier to do it that way. So I don't know if any of you guys have used Doe in the past, or if you still use Doe and it helped with that verbiage to help out, but that verbiage was great. I don't use it anymore because I have my own different way of doing it, but I did save all the verbiage on my phone, and I use that all the time. Most people are not going to tell you no if you're going to ask them to watch a quick 3-minute video and you think that they could relate to it. I haven't got very bad responses at all from those. So before you do, I said take action was number 3. Number 4 is before your reach outs and your follow-up, or maybe even those vulnerable posts that cause you anxiety, do self-affirmation out loud. And this was one thing, actually, you guys, at Super Saturday, I had Emily Gibson at mine. I was in Nashville, and like I said, some of the stuff I'm even saying to you guys, you're like, I already know this stuff, right? But just coming from her, certain things clicked for me. And one of the things that she said, and I've been doing this every time before I reach out now, but I used to have, like I told, if you guys were on the call at the beginning where I was talking about that negative talk that I used to say in my head, they're not going to want this, they're not going to need this, just sitting there thinking all of that before I reach out to somebody, then I'm going to have even more anxiety after I even do send the message, if I even do get to it, right? So this has helped me a lot. She said to say stuff like this, and so I'm just going to give you guys some examples. She's going to consider watching my video, reading my story, or trying my sample. She's going to feel hope. And so I say that in my head, I say it out loud every single time before I reach out to those few people that I'm going to reach out to for the day. Why wouldn't she want to hear this? I'm going to add value to her life. I'm going to make her day better. I'm going to leave her better off for having met me. I am good enough. My story is enough. I'm on this journey for a reason, and I have changed hundreds of lives so far, or thousands of lives, or I'm going to change hundreds of lives. Say that out loud. And this is one thing that I've always said, but when I start getting those fears, I always say, how could I not share these products? And I know my team's heard this a lot from me, but I always say, it is so selfish of me to not share, because these products, I suffered for 3 years with no help at all. I was so sick. I couldn't eat raw fruit or vegetables, wheat, dairy. I was so sick. I caught everything, every sickness in the air. And I struggled for 3 years like that, guys. And I was eating organic, and I was eating the AIP diet, really, really healthy. I was doing everything right, but I was such a hot mess on the inside that nothing was going to help things until I got my gut in balance. And I was doing stuff that doctor, some of the I'm not going to name names or anything, but some of the holistic doctors I was following, I was doing everything they were saying, and I was taking their supplements and supplements they were recommending, and nothing changed anything for me until Plexus. So if I've tried all of those things and nothing changed, but this did, Why am I holding this back from my friends and my family? Why am I holding this back from the new person that I met that has migraines daily, right? If you hear someone complain about that, and I know sometimes we fear not having enough of a relationship with them, right? Because we always say, you have to build that relationship first, before you can ever reach out about plexus. But I really think it depends on the situation, to be honest with you. Even about the business, I met Allison Caldwell, 3 times. The third time I met her is the time I brought up this opportunity with her. So I think sometimes it just depends on the person. It depends on that connection. Even though we didn't know each other very well, I felt this connection to her, and I was like, you know what? I really think that this would be awesome to do this with her. We were both talking gut health, and she was talking about starting up her other business. And I was like, hey, before you do that, why don't you do this with me? It'd be fun. And that's kind of how I talk. Like, I just kind of like joking around, but really serious. And she considered it. And look, she's one of my strongest legs on my team. So don't hold back because you're worried. Well, I've only known them for a couple weeks, or I've only known them for a couple months. You guys, I think some of you guys have seen me do it, and I've talked to you guys about it before. I think I've talked on Brandy's page and did a live. But last March, when they did the iPad giveaways for adding every 6 that you added, I ended up adding 12 that month of March. And all 12 of those people that I added were people that I just started building a relationship with in January. I just started going out for coffee with them. So don't let too much time get by either, because it's kind of like when you're dating and the boy is scared to ask you out, and it gets to that friendship zone, right? And then it's too awkward. And then he's like, he has no chance then after that because he put himself in the friendship zone. It's the same kind of thing. You get yourselves in this awkward spot where it's like, now I can't bring it up because, when things go on too long. So stop fearing that they're going to think, oh, she's just trying to sell me something. That's the only reason she's trying to build a relationship with me, the only reason she's talking to me. And start focusing more on the positive self-talk and thinking, she needs this. She already brought up to me that she has migraines daily. Why am I holding this back from her? And just let her hear your heart. People can get to know you very, very quickly, especially if you can get in person with them. I tell everybody all the time, if you can get in person with people, go out for coffee, get them on the phone. That is the best thing. And that's what's going to build that connection, that strong connection really, really quickly, that you don't have to sit here and wait around to reach out to them. So build that strong connection. And then last thing that I'm going to say, as far as I'm going to talk a little bit more about fears. But the last thing, someone went off. So distracting. Is your why has to be strong. Has to be strong, guys. If your why is not strong, you're going to make every excuse in the world why not to push past those fears, right? And there have been times where I've had a really strong why, and and like I said, I've been doing this for a little over 4 years. I've been on Plexus for 4.5 years, but a little over 4 years I've been doing this. And there have been times where I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, we all go through that, right? We go through like the ups and downs of the Plexus roller coaster. And I had to really sit there and think and go back, like, why am I doing this? Like, I know I'm doing this for a reason. I know that this is, so much bigger than me. So if you haven't in a while and you've been doing this for some time, go revisit your why again and make sure it's strong enough. Make sure it makes you cry. Put it out there. Put your story out there over and over again. And I just want to say this to you guys, and I know you guys know this, but know your team is here for you. We're here for you, to celebrate you, to support you, to encourage you, to motivate you, to just, for you to lean on us. We are here for you. But there are certain things that I can do. I can only do so much as a leader. I can only put out so many contests to push you past your comfort zone and tell you what to do. That's something you've got to do for yourself, right? So we're here for you, and we relate, and we know we've been through this stuff ourselves, and we continue to go through it ourselves. I continue to have fears. But that's why this is such an amazing business. I'm not doing this by myself. And so that's pretty much, that's what I've got for overcoming your fears. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about giving you guys some tips too when it comes to certain fears. So going back to fear of, like, let's say for fear of going live, for example. Baby step of that would maybe be recording it instead, right? Another baby step of that would maybe be doing it on your team page first, where, you know, it's just a small group of people, it's your team, you feel it's like your little safe place. Another safe place for me, and I don't know if everybody's like me, but I feel safe on Instagram versus Facebook, because Instagram's a bunch of strangers and I don't really care what they think about me. Cool, you're going to unfollow me. All right, whatever, bye. I'm not for you apparently. But then when it's my friends, it scares me. So start in the places that are not as scary and then work your way up, because once you do it, you're like, that wasn't so bad. You know what? I can go live on my personal page. So just take those baby steps. Fear of training your team and not knowing enough. Gosh, you guys, I tell this to my team all the time as far as not knowing enough. When I first started this business, I started on the triplex, that was it. And all I knew was that the triplex, like what it did for me. I knew what it helped. But I remember one of the very first people that reached out to me, and she's actually still, like, she has been a wholesale customer since the very beginning. She was one of my very first customers, and she still orders every single month. She's one of my most loyal customers, loves our products. And she shares here and there, but she asked me and said, hey, do you have anything for nerve health? I've got nerve damage. And I was like, I don't know. And I go and message Brandy. I'm like, do you have anything for nerve health? And she's like, yeah, it's called Nerve. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, I should have known that. I should have probably researched more. But you guys, you don't have to be the expert. You don't have to know everything. I was successful at this, just kind of sharing on the fly. I was just sharing my story. I put it out there. People would send me a message, ask me questions. I'd go find the answer from somebody else. And that was it. Sometimes they knew I was finding an answer from somebody else. Sometimes they didn't. Sometimes I was just quickly going and checking on my own and getting back to them, you know, when I knew the answer. But you don't have to know everything. And to be honest with you, people don't want you to be the expert. You know, we've learned that from Bob Heilig. We don't need to be the expert. That's the whole reason why we share these Plexus videos instead of us, you know, spitting out so much verbiage at them. That's why it's working so much better. We're showing them these professional videos, you know, or even the doctor video that we have now. I love that video. It's coming from a doctor, guys. Like, that is such a great resource to use. So don't hold back for fear of not knowing enough, not being educated enough, or whatever it is on the subject. Not being a good enough leader. You guys, I'm an Emerald leader, and honestly, I feel like there's still times, even as an Emerald, where I'm like, I'm not a good enough leader. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I feel we all say that. It doesn't matter what your rank is. It doesn't make me a better leader than you. We are all different leaders, and we all lead in different ways. You know, and I've learned that and seen that in a lot of, you know, just the differences in knowing my team and their colors. I'm a red personality. So don't expect, if you're a blue personality, to be leading exactly the way that I lead. We are different people and we lead in different ways. Our teams love us and they follow us for a reason, right? So don't fear that, because that is what's holding you back. If you're not leading your team and you're just like, well, I'm just a silver ambassador, or I'm just a gold ambassador, so I'm just going to let my emerald or sapphire or diamond ambassador go ahead and take care of them and tell them what to do. You need to lead them. And by the way, don't ever say I'm just a whatever ambassador, because that is a huge deal too. Being a gold ambassador, I remember when I didn't even think I would even get this far. I wanted to make a whole $500 extra a month, and that was it. So being a gold ambassador, even being a silver ambassador, is just as amazing. Okay. What else was I going to go over? I think this was something I was talking about, I think with Allison the other day. But first off, trying to put your ducks in a row. I feel like there's a lot of people out there, well, I have to get this done before I can get this done. It's kind of like, and we were talking, and it wasn't even about the business, but we were talking about, you know, just, are you ready? Like, are you ready to be a mom or to have babies, right? Or are you ready to date when the right guy came along? timing's not ever going to be right. Just like we know with people with the products too, right? They're always making excuses of why they can't do it right now. So it's the same thing with this. Your ducks don't have to be in a row to get started and get going and going through this. I think that's just excuses that we're making and telling ourselves because we're fearing and we don't want to push past those fears sometimes, right? But when it comes to the last thing that I want to say to you guys is you need belief. Okay? You need belief. And this is huge. If you need belief in the products, you need belief in the opportunity, you need belief in the company, but most importantly, you need belief in yourself. You have to have belief in yourself. Plain and simple. And that's something, again, where you have to find that for yourself. I can tell you all the things to do, but you have to find that belief yourself in order to be able to move forward. So this is partially like going on to the belief. This is why it's so important to be a product of the product, as far as believing in the products, right? Reading testimonies or watching testimonies, whether it's, the Diamond documentaries or just whatever it is, any of those, the stories of hope, you have to keep pouring in always, because if you're not, and you're not checking in and you're not reading these amazing life-changing stories, and let's just say you haven't added someone in a while, or you're not connected with a bunch of people that have these crazy, amazing stories, and you're just thinking, oh, they don't really need these products. They don't have any autoimmune issues. All they have is they probably just need some energy and that's it. By the way, that's huge, guys. Everyone wants more energy. Everyone wants better sleep. So again, those are just lies that we're telling ourselves when it comes to that. But if you're not doing that, you're not a product of the product, and you're not taking your stuff consistently, you're going to lose that belief in the products. When it comes to the business, same kind of thing. You need to even watch those opportunity videos as well, and have that belief that you can be there too. Have that belief that it is possible. You have to have that belief in this company and this type of a business. And don't let the skeptical people in your lives tell you otherwise and tell you that no, there's that's a pyramid scheme or whatever it is that they say. So that's it. Does anyone have any questions or anything that you guys want to say before we end this call? And you guys are on mute if you need to unmute yourself. All right.
Randi, it's Kristen.
Hey, girl.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you. Everything you were saying resonated with me, and I agree.
Good. Awesome.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course. I'm glad it was helpful. All right, ladies. Well, I hope y'all have a great night, and thank you so much for jumping on the call. All right. Bye, guys.